Council, April 15th, 2019, 7 p.m. Heidrich, Holtmeyer.
Aye.
Moheski.
The final aye.
Petke.
Here.
Pettit.
Here.
Skornia.
Here.
Sulentrop. Waterman.
Here.
This evening, we have a Boy Scout to lead us in the pledge. We'd like to welcome Wyatt Morgan. He's with Troop 443 from Gray Summit, and he's working on his citizenship and the community badge, and he's already agreed to do this for both of our meetings, so you get an extra star for that, okay? All right. Thank you, Wyatt.
Will all the council members answer if they have or have not read the minutes of the council meeting dated April 1st, 2019? Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Moheski?
Yes.
Petke?
Yes.
Pettit?
Yes.
Skornia?
Yes.
Sulentrop?
Yes.
Waterman?
Yes.
Having read the minutes, are there any questions or comments?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Motion. Motion for acceptance.
Second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Waterman, seconded by Moheski, to approve the minutes from our last meeting dated April 1, 2019. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the minutes. Thank you.
Approval and adjustment of agenda?
Okay, we needed a motion to accept the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Waterman, seconded by Moheski, to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, the agenda is approved. Thank you.
Citizens' comments?
Is there anyone here this evening who would like to address the council on any item that is not on the agenda? Okay.
Unfinished business. Certification of April 2nd, 2019 election results by the verification board.
Okay, in your packet is the final count from the election held on April 2nd. You have that information, and we will need to accept that into the minutes. And
Make a motion.
I'll second.
okay, a motion by Moheski, seconded by Waterman, to accept the results from the April 2nd election by the verification board. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you accepted the results. Thank you.
Priority items. Mayor's presentations, appointments, and reappointments. Resolution. Thank you. Jeff Moheski.
Come down. I think that's me.
Well, Jeff, we've certainly enjoyed serving with you, and it's been you've been with us for 8 years, I guess, right? So anyway, on this term, so you had been here 2 terms before, so a total of a billion terms, yes. So anyway, and I think you would agree with all of us that it's rewarding.
Yes.
There are times when maybe you think, but in the big picture, it's always rewarding, and I know you felt the same way. So, and it's kind of fun to see the progress that the city makes over the years. So, we have a resolution from the City of Washington, Missouri. Thank you, Jeff Moheski. Whereas Jeff Moheski served the City of Washington, Missouri as a Ward 2 council person from April 2011 through April 2019. And whereas during his term of office, he has given his time and effort to serve the citizens of the City of Washington, Missouri. And whereas he has served faithfully in many capacities as councilperson and has played a vital role in the important work in the community. And whereas he has been an influence for good in the growth and progress of our community. And whereas Jeff Moheski is entitled to just recognition for these efforts. Now therefore I, Sandy Lucy, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor, and speaking on behalf of the entire city council and all our citizens, do hereby tender to Jeff Moheski this resolution extending our deep appreciation for his distinguished services as a Ward 2 councilperson for the City of Washington, Missouri. We wish him success in all future endeavors and order this resolution spread upon the records of the City of Washington, Missouri, and a copy thereof delivered to Jeff Moheski. Signed, Sandy Lucy, Mayor, and Mary Trentman, City Clerk.
You know what? It's really been good. I think you guys know I've told a lot of you individually that you know, if it wasn't for you guys, I might have not have stayed that total term. But I have the utmost respect, and it's really been an honor to have served with everybody up there, to serve with the staff. Really excited about, you know, what how young the staff is and how much knowledge they have. It's really been a good ride all the way. I probably would continue to do this, but it interferes with my, you know, my travel plans and what I do now. So, give you an idea of that, I'll be in Mexico tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. So, it's been interesting over the last 6 months. But I very much appreciate everything you guys have done, and it's been wonderful. So, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, Susan? You haven't been here quite as long as Jeff, but you've certainly been involved, and you've really added a lot to our council for the time that you have been here. I agree, we've got a great council working, and I think we've made a lot of great decisions through the years, and with your help while you've been here as well. So we have a resolution from the City of Washington, Missouri. Thank you, Susan Waterman. Whereas Susan Waterman served the City of Washington, Missouri as Ward 1 councilperson from April 2017 through April 2019. And whereas during her term of office, she has given her time and effort to serve the citizens of the City of Washington, Missouri. And whereas she has served faithfully in many capacities as councilperson and has played a vital role in the important work in the community. And whereas she has been an influence for good in the growth and progress of our community. And whereas Susan Waterman is entitled to just recognition for these efforts. Now therefore I, Sandy Lucy, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor, and speaking on behalf of the entire City Council and all our citizens, do hereby tender to Susan Waterman this resolution, extending our deep appreciation for her distinguished service as Ward 1 councilperson for the City of Washington. We wish her success in all future endeavors and order this resolution spread upon the records of the City of Washington, Missouri, and a copy thereof delivered to Susan Waterman. Signed, Sandy Lucy, Mayor, and Mary Trentman, City Clerk.
It's been an honor. I know Jeff said the same thing. It's been an honor to do this. I've enjoyed every moment of it, and I look forward to working with everyone in the future through various other endeavors. And I hope that I'm going to be back up here again sometime in the next couple of years. So it's going to be a right time again for me, and I look forward to working with everybody again. I want to thank everybody who voted for me too and believed in me, and the citizens of Washington. This has been just an unbelievable experience for me. So thank you, staff, and thank you, everyone else. And Nick, best of luck to you. I think you're going to do great, and I'm going to be pulling for all of us. So thanks.
Thank you.
Council comments?
None.
I'd like to thank both of you again officially for serving for all these years. dues, and hope you guys come back anytime.
Thank you,
Thanks
Joe.
again.
Anyone else? Okay. Nothing further? We need a motion to adjourn?
Go ahead, Susan.
Make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
We have a motion by Waterman, seconded by Moheski to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, we are adjourned. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, thank you.
Taking my candy.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Take your candy.
These are my people. Free treats for everyone.
Hurry up, let's swear him in so we can.
Take a shower, Steve. More from here.
I know, that's pretty. That whole side of town. That's only Sully right now.
Boy likes that side of town.
Nick?
Well, we have everybody to,
You coming up there?
The 4, 3. Nice.
Then Jeff didn't have
so I think you'll move back out there.
Yeah,
But you
you
need
want-
to take Nick.
Hey, Nick, you want that?
You'll need to take this with you.
Oh, it is? They don't need it for, okay.
Oh, this is that new stuff.
write-ins.
Okay, sorry.
more than anybody else in the state.
Is that a fact?
That's what he said.
That's hilarious.
Isn't that funny? It's funny now, it might not be funny next year. Well, it's.
Mark didn't know you had to be. Mark didn't know you had to be here. Well,
Right hand.
He had this trip already planned in Kentucky for this week.
That you will support the Constitution of the United States, the state of Missouri, the provisions of all laws of this state affecting cities of the third class, and the ordinances of the city of Washington, and faithfully demean yourself in office, so help you God. I do. Okay, I need your signatures. There's Nick. Jeff. And Joe. Top line.
Different view from my view. Now you guys got me for 2 more years, whether you like it or not. 20.
Just that one? Okay, very good. Okay, did you ever get the paperwork you needed or a sample of what? No. Okay. Make it up?
I'm so used to this.
Okay, good. All right.
I think I have to buy it. A little better. This has got so much stuff.
Welcome.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, when we get the new ones, we'll just take this one over.
When you change our seating chart, Sully's and himself all the time. Football team's over here.
Ready when you are.
Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order, please.
Special meeting of Washington, Missouri City Council, April 15th, 2019, 7:14 PM. Heidrich. Holtmeyer.
Aye.
Obermark.
Yes.
Patke.
Here.
Pettit.
Here.
Scornia.
here.
Sullentrup.
Here.
Wessels. Please rise for the Pledge of
Okay,
Allegiance.
Wyatt, you're on again.
Get back up here.
This is pretty cool.
Double bagger here.
I pledge allegiance to the
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wyatt, you should get 2 badges for this then.
I'd say.
Approval and adjustment of agenda, including consent agenda. You have the rabies clinic for May 9th and 16th, 2019. Change order number 1 for KJ Understall Market Street improvements. Change order number 2, Hillerman Nursery Florist, grounds maintenance. And a liquor license application for Driftwood for new ownership.
Okay, are there any questions or comments regarding any of these items?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Patke, seconded by Pettit, to approve the items on the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the items. Thank you.
Priority items, city council elections, election of mayor pro tem.
Okay, before we do that, Nick, I want to officially welcome you to the council. I think you'll find it to be a rewarding experience,
Thank you.
as all of us have, and we're glad you're here.
Thank you very much.
Okay, very good. Okay, so our first item is the election of the mayor pro tem. Mary gave me a cheat sheet this year, so I can.
I'd like to nominate Jeff Packey.
Second.
Okay. So we have a motion to elect Jeff Patke as mayor pro tem. Motion was made by Steve Sullentrup and seconded by Jeff Holtmeyer. Jeff.
Jeff's my son.
Yeah, Jeff's your son. Sorry, Joe Holtmeyer. Okay, are there any other nominations?
Motion.
So hearing no further nominations, nominations for the office of mayor pro tem are closed. All in favor as Jeff Patke as mayor pro tem by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Jeff Patke is our new mayor pro tem. Congratulations, Jeff.
Election of city council member to P&Z Commission.
Your Honor, I spoke with Councilman Hydrich today, even though he couldn't be here tonight, in regards to the P&Z appointment, and he is willing to accept, even though he's not here. So I'd like to make a nomination for Councilman Hydrich.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Did you second it?
I'll second it.
I think, so we have a motion to elect Mark Hydrich to the Planning and Zoning Commission by Jeff Patke, and it was seconded by Steve Sullentrup. Are there any other nominations?
Motion to cease.
Okay, we have a motion that nomination cease by Steve Sullentrup. Do we have a second? Seconded by Jeff Patke. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And now all in favor of electing Mark Hydrich to the Planning and Zoning Commission signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, Mark Hydrich is still on the Planning and Zoning Commission, so very good. Thank you.
Election of council member to 353 Corporation.
Your Honor, I'd like to nominate Councilman Sullentrup to the 353 board.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Doesn't sound right.
Does anyone want a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Well, somebody had to say it.
Somebody besides you.
Out of fear.
Okay, so we have a nomination of Steve Sullentrup to the 353 Corporation by Jeff Patke, and that was seconded by Joe Holtmeyer. Are there any other nominations? Hearing no further nominations, nominations to the 353 Corporation are closed. All in favor of Steve Sullentrup to the 353 Corporation signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you have elected Steve Sullentrup to the 353 Corporation.
Election
you.
of Board of Health.
Your Honor, I'd like to nominate Joe Holtmeyer, Jeff Patke, Nick Overmark, and the absentee ballot, Mark Wessels, to the, what is it?
Board of Health.
Board of Health.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion by Steve Sullentrup to elect Joe Holtmeyer, Jeff Patke, Nick Overmark, and Mark Wessels to the Board of Health. And that was seconded by Greg Scornia. I am bad tonight. Greg Scornia.
We start wearing name tags.
I do. You have to switch it around to me.
Turn around for her.
Yeah.
by Greg Scornia. Okay, are there any further nominations?
Nope.
Hearing no further nominations, nominations for the Board of Health are closed. All those in favor of electing Joe Holtmeyer, Jeff Patke, Nick Obermark, and Mark Wessels to the Board of Health signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? By your vote, you have elected those members to the board. Thank you. Wow, that went better. Thank you, Mary, for that.
You're welcome. Mayor's presentations, appointments, and reappointments. Mayor's proclamation, Arbor Day.
Okay. So Arbor Day is coming up, and the Parks Department and our Urban Forestry are planning an event on April 27th out at the Miller Post Reserve. So we'll read the proclamation, and then you can tell them a little bit about that day. Okay, so we have Mayor's Proclamation, City of Washington, Missouri, Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas the Tree City USA program, sponsored by the National Arbor Day Foundation, provides direction, technical assistance, public attention, and national recognition for urban and community forestry programs in thousands of towns and cities that more than 93 million Americans call home. And whereas the City of Washington has been a tree city for the past 14 years, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now therefore I, Sandy Lucy, Mayor of the City of Washington, do hereby proclaim April 27, 2019 as Arbor Day in the City of Washington, and urge all our citizens to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands and to support our city's urban forestry program by planting trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of present and future generations. Signed, Sandy Lucy, Mayor. So, there you go.
Thank you. On April 27th, we'll have our Arbor Day celebration out at Miller Post. We're going to have some school children out there, a couple different schools planting, I think, 4 trees. We'll have some demonstrations. We'll have some vendors out there. A couple demonstrations we're going to have. We're going to have a portable sawmill guy come out and demonstrate how he won't actually start the sawmill, but demonstrate how they use that and how they can bring that into your property and cut down a tree, and then they can cut it up for wood for you to use in your home or wherever you'd like. A couple different vendors will be out there doing demonstrations. I think we're going to have some hot dogs out there. I'm still working through that, who's going to cook them and everything like that. I think that's about it. We hope we can come out. Hopefully it's a nice day, not like yesterday. Hopefully we'll have good weather and kind of show the place off, get some people up there, and hopefully learn.
When you were saying wood, you're talking about firewood, right?
Well, like if you had a tree, such as the one over there.
I'm just talking about I need some in my house. And
No, they're not going to cut up firewood. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
You can pay them to make lumber for your house, if you like.
All right.
But,
Damn.
so that's it. So, if you guys can make it, come on out. We'd like to have you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks, Wayne.
Mayor's Proclamation, National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week.
We have a big crowd tonight from the telecommunications. I heard there's a lot of J's over there now. 3 J's. 3 J's? Soon to be. 4 J's. 4 J's. Oh.
Lisa, can you introduce us so we know a face with a name?
I was going to.
Okay, great.
You wanted me to do it before?
Whatever's
or
fine.
after?
That's fine.
Okay, so I was going to just have everybody introduce themselves, because these are the faces that you guys don't see. You see my face enough at the council meetings. So we'll start with Kelly. She's my lead dispatcher, so if you just want to say your name and how long you've been with the city, so they know what kind of experience they have standing here.
Kelly Scuball, I've been here 22 years in May.
Amanda Spurgeon on my 11th year.
Sarah Dunlap, I'm on the second 2 years in June.
Cassidy Hodge will be here for a year in June. Jennifer Brady, 19 years in June.
Jared Albert, 3 years in February. Past February.
Obviously Lisa, and I've been here, was here 22 years in December.
Nice.
Working on my 23rd.
Lots of wisdom and lots of experience, which is
Yes.
good. So,
Yes.
and we hear good things about your dispatching at all times. So, thank you. Okay, we have a mayor's proclamation, City of Washington, Missouri. National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, April 14th through 20, 2019. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Washington Communications Center. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services and are the single vital link for our police officers and firefighters by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators of the City of Washington have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. Now therefore I, Sandy Lucy, Mayor of the City of Washington, Missouri, do hereby proclaim April 14 through 20, 2019 as Telecommunicators Week in the City of Washington, Missouri, Franklin County, Missouri, in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and citizens safe. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the seal of the City of Washington, Missouri, this 15th day of April, 2019. Signed, Sandy Lucy, Mayor. Here we go.
Well, as the mayor was saying, and Steve, you ask me almost every month if I'm fully staffed. As of the 29th of this month, knock on wood, I will be fully staffed. Yay! So with the 3 J's, I have Jared, Jeremy, Jennifer, and a new Justin. So that's what we were talking about, the J names. I just want to thank you all for recognizing my staff and what we do. You know, sitting behind that radio and answering those phones, there's a lot of downtime, but then there's a lot of time that you don't really know what's going to happen the next minute or how you're going to get through the rest of your day. And this staff is, bar none, the best staff that I could possibly have in my department. So I appreciate everything that they do for me every day, whether it's decorating for Telecommunicators Week, if it's listening to me rant and rave occasionally, but they are tops. So thank you very much. We're doing some fun things this week. We're having a dress down week with theme days. If you guys feel like popping in and seeing what we're up to, please do. Doors are open. Well, maybe you should knock, but we'll get you in there. And I just thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you, Lisa.
Police Department reappointments.
Good evening, Council. I have 3 officers for reappointment today. Officer Daniel Day, Officer Doug Tollison, Officer Charlie Shear. If you come up, please. Officer Daniel Day, this is his first full year with us.
All right.
He has done a fabulous job. I'm proud of the young man, and everybody here can be proud of him. Charlie Shear, this is his 6th month. Another 6th month. He's doing great. We'll have no problems. He's a fantastic guy. And Officer Doug Tollison has been with us for a while. He has been an SRO for how many years?
7.
7. Recently came out of there, is working the road again and doing fantastic. You can be proud of each one of these individuals. They have the concerns of the citizens and the protection of the community in their heart and in their mind, and I can't ask for better people. So I appreciate your reappointment.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Patke, seconded by Pettit, to approve the reappointments of Daniel Day, Patrol Officer, Doug Tollison, Patrol Officer, and both of those are for 1-year terms. Yes. And then the third one would be Charlie Shear, Patrol Officer, and that would be his second 6-month term. So anyway, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the reappointments. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
No speeches, huh?
You guys be safe.
Treasurer, Collector, Deputy Treasurer, Assessor reappointments.
Okay, so in your packet is the individuals for our treasurer collector and our deputy treasurer assessor. That would be Mary Sprung as the treasurer collector and Darren Lamb as the deputy treasurer and assessor. Those are all for a 1-year term. We do this every year.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So we'll need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Patke, seconded by Sullentrup, to for the reappointment of Mary Sprung as the treasurer/collector, term ending April 2020, and Darren Lamb as the deputy treasurer/assessor, term ending April 2020. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the reappointments. Thank you.
Public hearings, rezone lots 1, 2, and 3 of Mount Carmel Estates from R1A Single Family to R1C Single Family Attached.
So this is a request to rezone 3 different lots. It's all right. Just get it pulled up for me. Thanks, John. So this is the Mount Carmel Estates subdivision at Carmel Lane and West Main Street. Actually, all 3 of the planning and zoning stuff we have on tonight is in this general area, just by coincidence. But these 3 lots, lots 1, 2, and 3 of Mount Carmel are all requesting to be rezoned from R1A, which is single-family residential minimum lot size of 10,000 square feet, to R1C, which is single-family attached, which allows for duplexes to have a shared wall and on one side and then side yards on the opposite side. So you can see here in the zoning, the entire subdivision is R1A single-family residential, as is the adjoining residential to the east. You can see the industrial zoning in the gray, and then obviously the Miller Post Reserve is agriculturally zoned. What's been submitted is to subdivide those 3 lots into, would have to be done after the rezoning, but into what you see here. And so all 3 lots we split into 2 with a shared wall down the middle. Each lot size previously, or as existing today, is over 12,000 square feet. So they're able to cut each one in half and still meet the 6,000 square feet minimums. This would add 3 additional units to the subdivision. It was originally 12 units. This will bring it up to 15. That doesn't add a significant amount of traffic. I think the fire code requires after 35 units to have a second way into the subdivision, so this does not trigger any threshold. As you can see here, the 3 lots that are proposed do not adjoin any other homes in this specific subdivision. The remainder of the homes are on the western side of the street. This other lot to the north is actually to the homeowners association. It's reserved for stormwater drainage basin.
Is that an old aerial view?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Is that an old aerial view?
Yeah, I was going to ask him to update. Can you show where the homes are built? I think I saw an aerial.
Or the next one.
Yeah, hit the.
There.
Yeah. So this is something that the applicant submitted. Our aerials are from the the county. They haven't been updated since 15. But there's a house here, and then there's 2 houses being built to the south. Yeah. So I think there's a house here and here. If I remember correctly last time I was out there. So there's 3 single-family homes being built on R1A, and then these would be rezoned for duplexes. Staff doesn't have any problem with this. Single-family attached is technically still single-family. It does increase the density, but not to a degree that staff thinks is inappropriate for the area. It still follows the general guidelines of that subdivision. We have had other subdivisions in the past that have done the same thing. Off Rabbit Trail, which is now called the Villas at Weber Farms. They added duplexes at a later date, went from R1A to R1C, as same with some streets in Stonecrest did the same thing as well, added duplexes later. So it's not out of the ordinary, and like I said, it still meets that single-family style that you see in this area. So we are recommending approval. We do not believe this will detriment the neighborhood. So,
is the developer doing this?
Yes. The developer is here tonight, so. If you have any questions for me, if not, I'll hand it over to them.
I think it's the best use for the way the lots lay in there and stuff. The backyard for a single family wouldn't be much, and I think it's going to work out perfect for what's planned there.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Did Sean or did you want to say anything?
Yeah, Mark Harriman with BFA representing Sean Mayon and S&K Contractors. If you want to go ahead and move to that next slide. I saw a slide of the... Sorry. There it is. Okay. This is a general rendering of what we're proposing here. It's all brick on the front. Each unit will be 1,800 square feet, 2-family. Two bedroom. The whole building is a 2 families, but each side would be a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage. There may be some stone on the front, but our asking price to start around each unit would be about $250,000. So these are going to be fitting in the subdivision. They'll fit in real nice. It's a nice option for downtown. People wanting a little less maintenance. It's a good opportunity to help get the subdivision going, if you will. The original final plat was in 2009, and we just want to make sure we get the wheels going, give another opportunity, another option for home buyers to come in and build this subdivision up and get some people downtown. Any questions?
Is there any basements?
We will try to get basements in there if we can. I know rock's going to be close, but if we can get them in there, we definitely want them in there.
Mark, when you come back with a subdivision plat, do you anticipate any issues with creating at least the lots with a minimum of 6,000 square feet?
No, the plat, it shows it.
We will hit 6,000 square feet.
Okay.
Will they be at the minimum?
As long as they're over.
Yeah, they'll be over, or yeah, they'll be a little over.
Okay.
Be the safest bet. Yeah.
Any other questions of Mark?
We think this fits really, really pretty well in here, and just kind of gives another opportunity. And with Main Street, it's not too far off from the industrial park, kind of like Stonecrest and South Point Road. So we think it's a good fit. So thank you for your time.
Okay.
I make a motion to second the minutes.
It's a
Public
hearing. Okay, so is there anyone who would like to address the council?
Sorry.
Your Honor, council members, my name is Alex Filla. My parents, well, actually my mom lives on the south, in this map, the southeast corner of that proposed change in the subdivision. I talked to Sal and Darren. I guess because of a glitch or some sort of that nature, we were not informed of this particular proposal. So we didn't attend the planning and zoning meeting to express our concern about it. What we are concerned about it is that, first of all, that subdivision was set up as an R1A, and as you can tell, all the property around it is an R1A subdivision. And I guess my concern is this: I don't want this to be a stepping stone for the rest of the subdivision to start into duplex style kind of subdivision. Maybe Sean can tell us what his future plans are for what's going to go on. Yeah.
Sean Mayall, SK Contractors. Basically, we decided to rezone these lots with the topography and that hill that goes down there. It's not going to be very inviting for a single house to go. So there's going to be, there's a lot of people that want a lot less yard. So we're going to landscape the back of the yards real nice with patios and some landscaping into that hillside. But that is the only lots. I mean, I'm personally selling the house directly across the street, and I'm the one that's going to be selling up against this. So, obviously, if I felt it was detriment or not going to work, I wouldn't do that, Alex. Okay. So, again, that is going to be the only lots in there. Everything else will be residential homes in the mid-2s to $300,000.
Okay. Yeah. And again, that was my only concern, that the rest of the subdivision would not become an R1C. In my day, it was an R2. So, anyway, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Alex. Okay, any other questions from the council member?
Who owns the lots to the south of those 3 lots?
So, this is correct. This is Mr. Filla's mother. So when I spoke to Mr. Filla, we found out what the issue was with that, our mailer. So when we do a mailing list, we use this mapping system that you see here, and we run a selection process. It selects every property owner within 185 feet. And so if there are multiple parcels owned by one owner, it takes those out and only sends them one letter, because just to save postage and paper, we don't send them multiple letters. What happened was, when Sean bought this, the new owner still said, the owner still says homeowners association, but the address for this parcel right here still has the original owner here. And so whenever we ran this circle, it had one letter with the correct owner's name here and one letter for the correct owner's name, or for the homeowner association, but they had the same address. So we just sent one address, and it had the homeowners association's name on it. So I think when it got to them, they figured it's just a letter or address to the wrong person. They maybe didn't see it, didn't read it because it wasn't addressed to them. It had the correct address, it had the wrong name, and that's because whenever it was purchased, the county records have not updated this to go to Sean's address.
Who got that first lot?
The home.
It went to
well,
1437 Rock Lane, which
Yes.
is the address of Alex's mom.
So yeah, it
But
went
it was
to,
addressed homeowners association.
essentially, it went to the old homeowner association address, which is Mr. Phil's mom, but
And nothing was addressed to her because the
yes,
these
because
computers.
it was a duplicate address, and so we
and
take out duplicates.
It took out that one as opposed to.
Yes.
his
We actually
mom.
spoke about this with Darren. We just, in the future, we just will, if there's duplicate letters, we'll send them anyway. So they
Yeah, it's
know
not that big a
So they
deal.
know they have multiple properties that are affected.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I mean, that brings our postage cost up annual a little bit, but just, that doesn't
that-
happen very often.
And that was explained to you, Alex, how that happened.
We found that list very,
Yeah, unfortunately. Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, was there anyone else who wanted to address the council on this item? Okay. So we'll need to accept this into the minutes.
Accept the minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Solentrub, second by Holtmeyer to accept this item into the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you accepted the item. Thank you.
An ordinance rezoning lots 1, 2, and 3 of Mount Carmel Estates from R1A Single Family Residential to R1C Single Family Attached in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer. This is the ordinance that follows the previous item. Any questions or comments? Okay.
An ordinance rezoning lots 1, 2, and 3 of Mount Carmel Estates from R1A Single Family Residential to R1C Single Family Attached in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Holtmeyer.
Aye.
Sullentrup.
Yes.
Pettit.
Yes.
Scornia.
Yes.
Obermark.
Aye.
Hatchke.
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
Rezone 10 Franklin Avenue from C1 Commercial to C2 General Commercial. The applicant has requested to postpone the public hearing.
Okay.
I just need it accepted,
Into the
that you'll accept the
Make a
postponement.
motion to postpone.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Patke, seconded by Solentrub, to accept this item into the minutes to postpone the meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you postpone the meeting. Thank you.
Citizens' comments?
Is there anyone here who would like to address the council on any item that is not on the agenda?
Report of department heads?
Just give you all an update. West Main, the sidewalk project is under construction. They are getting the bottom layer blocks in place. So I think you can kind of get a feel, you can get a feel for what that's going to look like. That does get a 5-foot sidewalk in front of that wall as well. But as long as the weather holds out, we should be moving right along.
What is the pipe behind the wall? Is that sewer pipe?
No, that's actually there is a graded inlet up in the cul-de-sac behind it, Catawba Place, that was outletted at the face of the wall prior to this new wall being constructed. So rather than have that water just shoot out the face of this wall onto the sidewalk, we're rerouting it down to the end of the wall and then dissipating it into some rock.
Okay.
So it's a rerouting. We're gonna put a clean out there, everything else.
Okay.
So just trying to keep that sidewalk as clean as possible.
And there's no reason to put another inlet halfway down? I mean, it's already up on top. Is water going to come off the hill from the backyards?
No, it all sheet flows off the whole entire wall side, so there'd be no way to convey it into an actual inlet itself. So there's two different, there's the piping system above, which collects the water above and then routes it down, and there's also then the drainage pipes behind the wall itself, just to keep the hydrostatic pressure from the wall. This is only like it's a 4-foot wall. This is not going to be some expansive, 10-foot, 12-foot wall. So just give you a feel for it's long, but it's not very tall. And
Any
then
other
the other thing I had,
questions?
I'm sorry.
No, go on.
The other thing I had is this big trash week. We saw a lot of people were utilizing it today. So we had one resident, took us 30 minutes to clean today. So people are using big trash as an opportunity for them.
Anything else?
Ordinances and resolutions. An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a lease agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and KJC Aircraft Services, LLC.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer.
Okay, this has been a couple months coming. I've been, I don't know if I've been briefing you all, but we've been working with a mechanic who had some interest in our climate-controlled hangar. If you recall, there's 3 spaces essentially available. We're calling them T1, T2, and T3. Terminal is why we called it that. T3 is currently being occupied under a lease agreement with Frankenberg Plane. If you recall, that was approved about, I think, 2 or 3 council meetings ago. So that plane exists in that location, T3, which would be the northernmost spot within the climate-controlled hangar. T2 is the easternmost side, which is closest to the actual doors themselves. That is for our overnight stays. I know Economic Development, Sal, and we've been in discussion with Darren just to make sure that we had that available for people. If they flew in, let's just say there was inclement weather, that they could fit in that hangar, we'd have a spot available for them. So it's unoccupied until it becomes occupied as an overnight, short-term type stay. T1 is the one we're discussing tonight. This is for, the KJC Aircraft Services. It is a one-man mechanic. He's expressed interest in opening our facilities up for mechanic operations again. He was stationed at Spirit Airport in a hangar. Since that hangar, there's a change of hands, so he was looking for a place to go. These planes essentially come out of Spirit of St. Louis Airport to Washington to get worked on, inspected, those type of things. Does his work within our hangar, pays us this lease, this rent, and then fuels up, and they go back to St. Louis or wherever they're going. Kind of some of the things you see, not just with this lease agreement, which is a $400 for the month of May, and increases to $600 thereafter. And he is begging for more space as time kind of progresses. His business is doing very, he's anticipating it's going to be doing very well. We do also see an uptick in fuel sales as well with this, because when you fly a plane out here to get worked on, they typically purchase fuel and fly back. So it's got some other soft benefits as well with moving forward with this.
Any questions or comments?
There'd be
John?
additional outside aircraft, like if he's got a backlog, will there be extra aircraft sitting around outside?
Yeah, potentially. There are, I'll pick a number, I think there's 10 different tie-down areas that we can use. And right now, we do not rent them. They're kind of a courtesy type situation. I have not looked into what tie-down rentals would be. Quite frankly, I'm really not, I don't know if I would go after that so much. It's kind of more of a service. But yeah, potentially there would be. Now, I wouldn't think of it being like a, like a car chop shop type
Right. I
situation.
understand.
I mean, these are aircraft.
I'm just saying, if you have something come in, you need parts, it may be there a day or two. Do you know how long
Potentially.
something will be sitting around, a couple days or no?
Potentially. And Kevin Hellman, our airport manager, works over there full-time.
Yes.
And he has a pretty good working relationship with this individual as well. I think he's been kind of wanting to get into Washington for a while now. So we're monitoring that and kind of keeping things clean, that type of thing. So it's a good opportunity for us.
Thank you.
Is the concrete cured and gas in full strength again?
Concrete's cured, full strength. We are retaining $14,000 still to close the project out. There's some project closeout that has to be done. But yeah, we are operating like we were before, and I've not heard anything negative. So the product that we paid for and then paid a little additional for is now here.
We still looking at striping bids?
Correct, yes. It's actually being advertised Wednesday.
Okay.
So we're advertising for restriping the runway, the entire runway. I think it was 2006, if I remember right, so we're looking at 13 years. MoDOT's identified it as a potential issue, so try to get ahead of that. We're going to be restriping the entire runway, doing some spall repairs and some concrete panels, those type of things. It's, once again, a pretty quick project, but it will have a closure of the runway of approximately 5 days. So we're phasing that and trying to limit the amount of concern. Once that gets bid and I start getting hard dates, I'll start getting that out to everybody just so the businesses and everything know. And I'll work with Sal on letting everybody know as well.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a lease agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and KJC Aircraft Services, LLC. Holtmeyer.
Aye.
Sullentrup.
Yes.
Pettit.
Yes.
Scornia.
Yes.
Obermark.
Aye.
Patke.
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a First Amendment to lease agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri, Sandra Bolte and Dale Bolte.
Pettit.
Introduced by Councilmember Pettit.
This is as it stated, an amendment to the lease agreement. Their lease would have run out at the end of April, and so this will extend it for 2 more months at their request. We are in the process of getting a request for proposals out for the Waterworks facility, so it gives us some extra time. They needed some extra time, so it kind of worked in both parties' favor. So, but we do have an RFP that we're working on that we want to go ahead and put out. And like I think our goal as staff is to present with you, hopefully, a lease situation that helps us go ahead and maintain that Waterworks building rather than, become a drain on maybe our general revenue at a later point. So that's kind of what we're after.
Any questions or comments?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a First Amendment to lease agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri, Sandra Bolte and Dale Bolte. Holtmeyer.
Aye.
Sullentrup.
Yes.
Pettit.
Yes.
Scornia.
Yes.
Obermark.
Aye.
Patke.
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a contract with Krupp Construction for the 2019 Beaker and Studerman Road Improvement Project, STP 6400-624.
Patke.
Introduced by Councilmember Patke.
Within your packet, Andrea gave you a rundown of the 4 bids that we did receive. As you can see, they were fairly tight, and they were all underneath the actual estimate that we put forth. So I think it was a pretty competitive market to get into. So we're looking forward to that. This is an STP project, which is $80-20. So we paid 20 cents on the dollar to get this project completed. It is an overlay, 3-inch overlay, mill and fill, actually, from Highway A, milling out the asphalt, replacing it with asphalt, from Highway A to Highway 47. And then from Highway 47 to Washington Heights Drive, it has a sidewalk component, essentially from the well house to Highway 47, and then back to the commercial retailer, the Schnucks development, just to kind of tie all that together. And then also on the north side from Dairy Queen up to Fawn Drive. The goal being here, once again, I keep repeating this, is just to connect subdivisions. No different than our West Main project, to connect subdivisions. So it allows people the ability to get off the streets when they're walking and doing whatever business they may be doing. In addition, MoDOT will be completing an overlay microsurfacing, which is a very thin overlay from the bridge to Norwood Trailer Park this spring. That's actually going to be happening prior to this, so they'll mesh up really well to make sure that our sidewalks, everything get connected. There's going to be a lot of construction on 47 starting up here late spring, early summer.
No sidewalk any further west than the well house.
It'll go, I'm sorry, it goes up to, was that Meadow going up the hill? I apologize.
Michelle?
Michelle, there you go, to Michelle. So it goes up to Michelle, once again, to connect subdivisions.
Gotcha.
And the important part here, we received, when the well house was destroyed, essentially, I received a couple calls, and I think some council members also received some calls regarding the site distance around the well house. As you pull on from, was it Fawn? I'm sorry, not Fawn. Valley Drive, I get those confused. Valley Drive, looking up the hill to the west. There was some concern about seeing around the well house as it was being constructed. We pushed that well house back approximately 12 inches. It's the best we can do. I mean, it covers a well. You know what I mean? We can't move the well. So one option that we have, though, is to narrow up the entrance to Studerman by pushing Michelle into the actual Studerman Road. There's a striped island right there on that southern radius. we feel we could pick up an extra 3 foot to see around that well house. So we're doing some survey work this week to see how feasible that is and to put together a cost as a potential change order to the contractor to take care of that. It would be requiring curb and gutter on that south side, but a sidewalk's already going in, and this is the time to fix it if we can get it done.
Is the building any further north than what it was before?
No, no.
It's 12 inches south.
It's 12 inches south as it sits today, but I also feel like we can improve it even further, like I said, by pushing that intersection to the north even a little further. So
Greg,
we're going
the well house is 12 inches south as of today.
Yeah.
Because everyone tells me it's farther north than it was when we started.
It's not.
I know, John and I have been talking about this,
Yeah.
I know.
But like I said, I think we have another, I mean, we're gonna evaluate just from a cost standpoint of doing some additional improvements. Unfortunately, the job was already put together and already out the door, you know, essentially bid before we came up with this solution. So it also helps too, it moves that sidewalk away from some of those residences, some landscaping, things of that nature that we you know, I really didn't feel the necessity to pay for again. So more to come on that. But
That could be a change order, right?
What's that?
That could be a change
For
order.
sure. Oh, yeah. Yep, that's what we're going to pursue. You're either going to mill it out and replace it with asphalt and pour a sidewalk, or you're going to replace it with a concrete curb and gutter. So there is a break even. It's not going to be a one-to-one, but I mean, it'll solve a problem.
Okay.
So, and we have road width there to do it, because there's a
Good.
striped island there already. So, just want to brief you all on that. That may be coming
Okay.
down the pike, so.
Any other questions or discussion?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a contract with Krupp Construction for the 2019 Beaker and Studerman Road Improvement Project, STP 6400-624. Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Zolentrop?
Yes.
Pettit?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
Obermark?
Aye.
Hatke?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance approving a boundary adjustment for Miller's Place, Plat 2 in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilmember Holtmeyer.
All right, so our boundary adjustment, our first of 2 boundary adjustments tonight is just south of the subdivision we just discussed. Currently, there are 2 lots. This is how it looks today. This is Bernard Street and then North Park Drive. There is
Yeah, I think so.
a lot here that has right-of-way frontage. It's how it meets the zoning requirements. It has right-of-way frontage along North Park Drive, and then this lot along Bernard. They're wanting to create a lot here for a buildable piece to sell off or to build a new home. I'm not sure what the deal is, but they said they do want to put a new home here. And so in order to do that and not have to go through the whole subdivision process and put in a new road to access this remnant parcel, they were going to do a boundary adjustment to create the lot here, and the original lot line that was here separating the 2 is going to be dissolved. So basically, taking this line and moving it to here. So,
Hey, Sal, that's
Yes.
great. Next time, can we get that colored picture and that pink and blue picture in the packet?
yes,
It's
absolutely.
almost impossible to see. I didn't even know where this was
got there.
at.
You know where it was at.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That. you
Yeah,
can't read
I
the street
apologize
name?
since.
That's all.
Yeah, since these don't go to planning and zoning, there's no staff report, but I will make sure to have this ahead of time before the packet, so.
You can use your shirt color.
Okay, thank you. You like that? So, that's it, we're recommending approval, yep.
Any questions or comments?
An ordinance approving a boundary adjustment for Miller's Place, Plat 2 in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Zolentrop?
Yes.
Pettit?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
Obermark?
Aye.
Hatke?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance approving a boundary adjustment for post-subdivision Plat 2 in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilmember Holtmeyer.
Should be,
Yeah, it's all in the same area.
there you go, yep. So, right down the street, Bernard and West Main, there are currently 3 lots here today. This home here is actually over one of the lot lines. It's just how that subdivision was laid out. So when you look at it actually on the tax map, this looks like one lot because they pay taxes on it, and then this is a separate lot. So what they're wanting to do is do a boundary adjustment to remove the lot line over the house, have lot 1, lot 2. So,
Clean up. Get the same color, too.
Makes a lot of sense when you put it in color.
That's Jeff's color.
That's right. See?
Okay, any questions or comments?
An ordinance approving a boundary adjustment for post-subdivision Plat 2 in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Holtmeyer.
Aye.
Solentrup.
Yes.
Pettit.
Yes.
Scornia.
Yes.
Obermark.
Aye.
Hettke.
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
Commission, committee, and board reports. An ordinance approving the final plat and acceptance of minimum improvements for maintenance for the Stonecrest Plat 14, Phase 3 in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Patke.
Introduced by Councilmember Patke.
All right, this is our next portion of Stonecrest. So Plat 14 encompassed this entire area here, but the final plat, as you all well know, has been separated into phases. So Phase 1 and 2 have been completed. The improvements are done. This is Plat 14 in its entirety, showing the connection. This is Vernacey Drive
Yay.
up here, which is the connection that I guess has been planned since 2001, I think is what we determined today. So a long time coming. So this is the actual final plat for Phase 3. John has had it inspected, so that's why there's no performance bond on this, just a maintenance bond. We do have one comment. If you remember when we had this discussion, and I think this is just fell through the cracks with the applicant. I don't think they're removing it because they did agree to it, that we wanted a stub here, an actual curb cut to show for future connection to the west here. Our comprehensive plan does have a connection planned to go to Rabbit Trail to that portion. We mentioned that to the developer when they came through the preliminary plat, and they agreed to it, and I actually have seen construction plans that show it, but this final plat, I'm guessing what happened was that, and I'm assuming they're not here, but I'm guessing what happened was that they took this preliminary plat from the original and copied it over to this final plat, which is fine. It shows the same lots, same sizes, all the easements in this stormwater area. However, the final plat will need to show this stub for when it's actually recorded. So we are recommending approval with the caveat that there is a condition of approval that that stub is shown to the west.
I think the stub's there.
Where will Rabbit Trail will run into what then?
That end of that street. It'll be a
What would
four-way.
be the name of that street, though?
Well, it could be Earthcrest, but most likely they come up with a new street name because it'd be a different development. It would kind of S down. So we do have a portion of right-of-way. I'm sorry I didn't zoom out far enough here, but
There's a portion where those duplexes on Rabbit
Right.
Trail where they end there.
The trail is.
and it lines up with the Clay Camp property here. So this is the Clay Camp property. It lines up with this black line, and so the road would curve in.
That connection's shifted over time. At first it started there, then there was a thing to go ahead and move it further south through what was the Weber Farm at the time, and then now I think it's been determined by staff the best place is
Yeah,
to go
the-
ahead and have it by duplex because you don't have to cross such a wide part of floodplain out there.
Yeah, the
Correct.
bridge
We
would
are-
be a lot shorter.
Yeah, and we actually already own a portion of that right-of-way already.
We talked about that. It'd be a short bridge if we
Yeah.
did it
Correct.
a few months ago.
The width of it gets smaller because the channel is narrower.
Yeah. And this connection's open, so I actually wasn't out there today, but John, you said that this curb actually.
Yeah, the curb, there is no apron poured in or a stub per se, but there is a curb cut there where the actual curb was not finished.
Right.
So they're aware of it.
So that shows that they haven't changed their mind. They just need it. We just need it reflected in case the developer sells the land and someone else buys this portion of the west. We can say, look, the plat shows it there. That's really why we need it. So.
Are those streets developed yet?
Yes.
Yeah, you can.
They're going out there, you can make the connection from Stonecrest into Target. That's why we were giving the woo-hoo earlier.
We were celebrating today.
Beautiful.
Yes.
He had a motor grader parked in the way for a couple weeks, but now it's open.
Yep.
Drove out there
It's
at lunch.
excellent for the neighborhood, for fire, for police, so it's, I think we decided today that this was probably originally planned in 2001 when they first came in with this, so.
Years ago.
It takes time.
Yeah, it's been.
Any other questions or comments?
So yeah, we are recommending just with that condition for the stub to be shown on the final plat.
So I'm going to need a motion to include the stub to the west on the plat, and then we'll vote on that first, and then we'll do the ordinance.
Okay.
Make a motion.
Okay, Gretchen already did, so we have a motion by Pettit, seconded by Solentrup, to include the stub on the map.
To go to the west.
To go to the west, the stub to the west on the plat. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, that is now included.
An ordinance approving the final plat and acceptance of minimum improvements for maintenance for the Stonecrest Plat 14, Phase 3 in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Holtmeyer.
Aye.
Solentrup.
Yes.
Pettit.
Yes.
Scornia.
Yes.
Obermark.
Aye.
Hatke.
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
Mayor's report.
Okay, in your packet tonight is the current list of committee assignments. We have that in there so you can see what you're currently serving on, and then if you have any changes that you would like to make, no promises, but if there's something else you'd like to have an interest in and you would like to move. We also are going to be adding 3 additional committees. One of them is a comprehensive plan review. And this is, we have our comprehensive plan, and Sal brought up that in that plan, it says that we should review that quarterly to make sure that we're following the plan. So this would be a committee that would meet quarterly. We probably need 1 council member, at least 1, maybe 2 council members, and then staff with that, and community stakeholders. So that will be a new committee that will meet 4 times a year.
We haven't determined that, but it can, I think once we have who was on the committee, we can decide when they'd meet. Right now, we have 3 P&Z who have volunteered. We are hoping at least 1.
Maybe 2.
Yeah, 1 or 2 at council, and then we just have maybe 2 community members.
The only suggestion I would have is if you could possibly do it before the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting if you get that many members.
Yeah, we could do a 6 o'clock right beforehand.
Right.
4 times a year. That would be easy.
Yeah.
So the comp plan does actually say that we should be meeting quarterly and then have an annual report to the P&Z saying this is like a report card how we've done this year on voting on items that reflect the.
That's a good idea, really. So just
We do have
doesn't sit
5
there.
more years, but we're officially at the halfway point before we do a new comp plan. We do it every 10 years, and 2019 is the 5-year mark.
Okay, so there's that new committee. There is a public safety committee. At one time, we had a police board or a police committee or whatever, and then now we have traffic. But there's a public safety committee that meets in the odd months on the 2nd Monday of the month at 10 a.m. So the 1st, 3rd, 5th. Yes, it's kind of the emergency management. So they're calling it the Public Safety Committee, and that would be Chief Menifee,
Emergency Management
Emergency
Director.
Management Director Mark Scornia, the Fire Chief, correct? And then Lisa with Communications. And Terry Buttermeyer meets with you as well. So we need maybe 1 person to serve on that. So 2nd Monday of the month, the odd months. And the 3rd one, John, you brought this up. This was a stormwater committee.
Yeah, as part of last year, we had our MS4 audit with DNR. It was identified that we don't specifically have a stormwater committee. That committee essentially would look at the current ordinances and regulations in regards to the stormwater utility, or construction, like stormwater pollution prevention type things, those type of items. We don't have a committee that really discusses that. The ordinances were, I think, drafted back in the early 2000s that really haven't been looked at, and we got dinged pretty good on that at our last audit. And DNR want us to put together a specific plan on how we were going to address that. I am behind a little bit on that, knowing that this was a good opportunity to get that committee kind of put together. So the idea would be is we could start, quarterly potentially, could be biannually, really wouldn't matter at this point. But we would just discuss essentially the ordinances, how they're being applied. Like for example, we had a river relief situation that was a big deal for us. Just discuss those type of items and see what we can do better. And then look at any different ordinance changes that we could prevent to the full city council in the future. So DNR is really kind of pushing that. People on that would be essentially, obviously myself, maybe Wayne with the Parks Department, since we do mesh really close with like native plantings, things of that nature. And then we would open up to stakeholders, an individual maybe from the engineering community, and then, some other people that were interested in kind of horticulture.
We've had a few people come forward.
Yeah. Clean stormwater is a big deal. I mean, it's being viewed, it's a utility. So it's just a change in mind. I think it's important that we start getting that out there, that every drop of water that hits a piece of pavement needs to be remediated for pollutions. So.
Okay, so those are three. Let me know if you have a preference.
I'll be on that one.
Stormwater?
Stormwater.
Okay. A couple other things. Kevin attended the Missouri Water Environmental Association conference.
Correct.
Last week before?
It was the week before.
And we were awarded at that conference the Small Systems Treatment Plant of the Year.
Correct.
And this was not something we applied for or not something that we nominated ourselves for. Someone nominated us. So
Yes,
do you know a little more?
It was a blind nomination. I think at the last, that's where Kevin was at the last admin ops meeting, actually, was at the conference and was receiving that award. That's a big deal. I mean, for things that kind of out of sight, out of mind, treatment plant, everything goes there. So knowing that, it plays in, everything that goes into the treatment plant has to get treated and then is released into the environment. So that's a really big deal. It's a kind of a testament to the importance and the, with the investment in the treatment plant. I think, once again, it also says that, hey, Washington's open for business. The infrastructure's ready to go. So come here, we can clean your mess up and move it on. So
I think the biggest asset we had when we did the treatment plant was the electricians.
Thank you, Steve.
What was the name of that company?
And they are
Electric Unlimited.
Electric Unlimited.
Kaiser when we built it. Yeah.
that group is wanting to come here and present that award to us kind of formally. So we're still waiting on getting that done.
It's a big deal.
Yeah,
nice.
It is.
A really
It was
big deal.
unanimously nominated by whom?
We never got the.
We don't know.
Different city or something?
My guess is what typically happens is consultants within the industry kind of get together and look at it as an opportunity, kind of get it.
No, we don't know who nominated it. But he had kind of indicated that if something else happened, we might get another award
there's,
too.
The potential's there next year. I think it was, but I don't remember what it was.
I don't remember what it was. It was something else though.
There's an air scrubber that we're actually installing at the treatment plant to kind of keep the, the residual smell down at the treatment plant. So that would actually be eligible again next year. So
When we built the treatment plant, we built it for our future expansion. What capacity we're at right now, does anybody know?
That's a good question, one that I do not know of right now.
Yeah, we haven't
I wouldn't
grown
even
a
comment
lot.
on
You got
I think we're at,
You got 3 weeks.
I think we're, yeah, it's half is, it was the thing
I
that
would
what
have
we
said
typically,
50% if I had to guess, but
if we would go ahead and fill out an RFI for a industry that's coming in and they wanted to know what our potential was, I mean, we're about half.
Need a grill?
We do.
We do.
Go ahead and let them in.
We'll have a discussion about that at a later time too.
Okay, I'm just full of news tonight. I should have mentioned this when Wayne was receiving the Urban Forestry Award, but there was a group that was organized by Stephanie Virgin. She's a science teacher at the high school, and it was a honeysuckle hack at the Miller Post Reserve, and they had 80 volunteers that day working in the Miller Post Reserve, and it was a cold, rainy, horrible day, and there were 80 volunteers out there trying to eradicate the honeysuckle. So that was amazing.
honeysuckle is extremely invasive. It greens up earlier than any other plant in the woods, and it also holds on to its greenery the latest of the year. So any tree that dies, any saplings that come up to replace larger trees, it shades them all out. So it's very important. It's taken care of within.
It's a big number. And lastly, the library will be hosting a
a special exhibit that is from the Missouri Humanities Council, and the topic is Missouri statehood. And we are the first library to receive this exhibit. So it'll be here, I think, maybe till about June 1. Opens on April 27th, so all of May. But it's an exhibit that the Humanities Council is bringing in. So anyway, you'll hear more about that. And I think that's all I have. That's it.
City Administrator's report.
Believe it or not, today was the first day for the deadline from that finance department to turn your budgets in for our departments, so we're already looking at next year's budget. Wayne and I are going to be meeting with some civic groups. The Lions, we had to reschedule one because I think it was on the Cardinal home opener and they wanted to reschedule. A few people weren't able to attend that one, but we'll be meeting with all of our civic organizations, at least their board members, and the goal is to talk to them about future park projects that we're going to be having with the half-cent capital improvement sales tax, and if they would like to go ahead and participate. And it's always kind of a good time to go ahead and ask them if they'd like to go ahead and participate in those. So that's also coming up. And then lastly, just to welcome Nick, and Mark's not here tonight, but we can provide you guys with tours of our facilities at whatever works best for you. You think about your schedule and just get a hold of me, and we'll take a look. And I think Gretchen still is owed a tour of that award-winning treatment plant. So
I could give you that one.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Nick may go ahead and do this.
Might happen sooner.
I'll stay in my office and do my other stuff. You guys go ahead. So, yeah, he's still got a key.
I haven't been down here yet either.
Well, all right. So anybody that would like to take a tour of any of our facilities, I will be happy to drive you around. So anyway, but that's all I have.
Council
I do have a couple items for you in executive session.
Council comments?
I'd like to welcome Nick over Mark, and Mark Wessel's not here, but I'd like to welcome him to the council.
Very good.
Thank you.
Joe's a senior member. He's the spokesman for the group.
Usually.
He's always been here as long as I have.
Anything else?
Public vote on whether or not to hold a closed meeting to discuss legal, personnel, and real estate matters pursuant to Section 610.021 RSMO 2000. Holtmeyer.
Aye.
Feldentrop.
Yes.
Pettit.
Yes.
Scornia.
Yes.
Obermark.
Aye.
Heckey.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all.
You gonna